Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this slightly different video. We're actually going to talk about 5 things that WWE need to do right now to start generating a buzz, to start building that excitement for this year's Summerslam. Summerslam, the biggest party of the summer, is not that far away, August 23rd, so we've got a good few weeks, but things aren't brilliant at the moment. Of course, there's a lot of big names that are missing. There's no Roman, for example. Obviously, Becky is out of the picture at the moment. Charlotte is out injured at the moment as well. So there's quite a few decent names that are missing. As well as that, the ratings of Raw and SmackDown are at an all-time low in recent weeks as well. So kind of feels like we need to freshen things up. We need to wake things up. We need to generate a little bit of a buzz again. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to talk about 5 things that they can do to achieve exactly that. What we're going to do is talk about some of the rumours that are out there as well. So we're kind of bringing in a few different things. So let's get started with number 5. And that is choosing a venue for SummerSlam. Now, this is very weird because normally a venue is sorted about a year in advance. And in all fairness, this was going to be at the TD Garden in Boston. But of course now it's become very apparent that the pandemic is not going away. I think that Vince wanted some sort of crowd to return by this point. I think he's always had SummerSlam kind of penciled in as when we would get a crowd back, and it's apparent now that that's just not going to happen. So no longer is it in Boston. We thought it was going to be at the Performance Center. But reports this week saying that Vince doesn't want this at the Performance Center. He doesn't want this to feel like every other show. So there's speculation that this could take place on a beach. There seems to be a lot of excitement around the idea that this could take place on a boat. I am not making this up. These are actual reports that are out there. From reliable news sources saying that this is what WWE are looking at. So hopefully we get an answer on that in the coming weeks. We're going to need to know quite soon. I know that none of us can go, but still this is really important for building that excitement. Next up, number 4, push Big E. A lot of the WWE fanbase have been waiting for Big E to get this opportunity. A lot of us see Big E as an uncrowned Universal or WWE champion. He's known and loved. He's someone that's respected. He's huge. I really, really want them to push Big E. I want him to have a big singles match at SummerSlam. Now, it doesn't have to be for a title. I just want him to move away from the whole New Day power of positivity. I think that if Big E is going to have a successful singles run, I don't think that he should still have the New Day connections. That was my big criticism with Kofi. Kofi, when he achieved Kofi Mania, was still very much in New Day attire, coming out to New Day music. I don't want that for Big E. I want Big E to bring back the Langston name. I want him to become Big E Langston. Once again, I want him to show that he is not the power of positivity Big E. That this very much is a more destructive, more serious Big E that is putting the whole roster on notice. Big E used to, down in NXT, win matches with a 5 count because 3 wasn't good enough. So he used to win with a 5 count. I want that to come back as well. I want it to be a case where he tries to win his matches with a 5 count. I want him to be this absolute unstoppable force. Have him win squash matches against good names. Give him some momentum. Push this guy like the monster that he is, because by the time we're getting to the end of the year, early 2021, we could be in a very, very exciting place with Big E. So he needs a big, high-profile singles match at SummerSlam. Number 3 on the list, they need to bring in a big name. The problem with the roster, or one of the problems with the roster, is that it is so depleted of big names at the moment. So we need to get Roman back, even if it's just for one night only. We need to get Roman in, or we need to get John Cena back. There's even talk, and this is sort of breaking news at the time of recording this, AJ Styles did an interview earlier today where he has said, he has challenged, if you will, the Undertaker to a match at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Championship. He's proposed a loser leaves WWE. So if AJ loses, he will leave. If Undertaker loses, then he has to leave. Winner becomes Intercontinental Champion. So loser leaves WWE. Undertaker versus AJ Styles. That challenge has been made, but we just don't know if we're going to hear back from the dead man in regards to that challenge. So I don't know if they're going to go that way or not, but I could see it happening. I don't think that would be Undertaker's last match, because this is not going to be in front of a crowd. So seemingly the Undertaker would be walking away with no one around, and that doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense to me. So this is quite interesting. Keep an eye on this one. AJ Undertaker, there could be something there. But regardless, we need a big name. Be it Cena, be it Brock, who was meant to return. And we don't know if he's going to be coming back now, because, again, Vince thought that we would have a crowd. If there is no crowd, are you going to use up one of your contracted Brock dates for an event where there isn't a crowd? This is the big problem with SummerSlam this year. But SummerSlam does need to feel special. And in order to feel special, it's going to need that star power. So Roman, Cena, Brock, The Rock, any of these names, The Undertaker, the list goes on. Ronda, if they can get her in for one night. Like any of these names are just going to bring that extra star power that will make a big difference. Number 2 on the list, the Hacker storyline. This was such a success. There's not many storylines that WWE have got or had that can continue outside of the show. The great thing about the Hacker was that the Hacker had their own Twitter account. And so this meant that they could put videos out on social media that then people were analysing, breaking apart, slowing down, like trying to figure out who was behind the voices. There was all of this talk and theory and buzz that was happening outside of the shows. Now, if they got a really good storyline that the Hacker could be a part of, and they could put clues online, and they could really get people invested when the show isn't on, that's a great way of bringing people to the show when it is on. And just kind of social media has shown now that just because the show might not be on air, that doesn't mean that people have to stop talking about the show. Social media means that this is a 24/7 world, and WWE needs a storyline that can really capitalise on that. So for me, the Hacker was one of the best storylines they had going that did capitalise on that. There's a lot of people that wanted to know who's the next target for the Hacker. Who is the Hacker? Is the Hacker working alone? Is it a vehicle for bringing back CM Punk? Of course, we could still get these answers. It could be a case, again, they're waiting for crowds to return. But the reports are that Vince just wasn't feeling any of the ways forward on it, and that's why nothing came of it. So I really feel that to generate that buzz, you kind of need a massive storyline, something that can play out on social media. I think this was the right one. The final thing that WWE can do to generate that buzz is bring up the Undisputed Era. This is 4 guys that have dominated NXT. They are former tag champs, North American champion in Roderick Strong. Obviously, Adam Cole, the longest reigning NXT champion. As a 4, they are very powerful. They are potentially the next Shield, and they could bring up the Undisputed Era. And honestly, I would just give them free reign. You know, if it's going to be a case that they've got a scheduled match, don't show for it. Instead, beat people up backstage. It could be that WWE tried to then get them arrested. They're out of control. They could really go crazy on a storyline here. You know, I would have them beating up Vince in Gorilla. I would have them going into locker rooms and just destroying people. I would be building up Survivor Series right now. A team of disgruntled WWE superstars against the Undisputed Era. That could be like a big main event marquee match. Now, I don't know if you'd bring them up just before SummerSlam or if you bring them up during SummerSlam, but I feel that it's got to be around this time. So, obviously, we don't know if they're done yet with NXT. We don't know where their futures lie, but they've got to be on the verge of a call-up, because I feel like we've been on the verge of a call-up for a very long time. This could send shockwaves throughout all of the WWE. So there we go then, guys. Just 5 ideas, 5 ways that we could reinvigorate the WWE product as we build towards SummerSlam. A few rumours, reports that are in there as well that we've just touched upon. If you've got some other thoughts, leave them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully see you again next time. Bye for now.